Hi, my name's Eddie Bush. Welcome to my channel. If you like what I do, I hope that you'll follow and come around and talk to me and give me some input. Today, we are going to be working with Dave Thomas's checkout kata. And what we want to do is we want to step into TDD a little bit. We'll do talk about some fairly remedially about TDD, getting started with it, and working this kata. We'll be very deliberate. We'll talk about test design and things like that. Yeah. So, let me see here. Okay, so here is so the basic idea here is we want to um, set up a checkout to have flexible pricing rules. And here's an example of what Dave had in mind. And when we say flexible pricing rules, we want to be able to, we don't want to get locked into a set. We don't want to, ideally, we don't have to make a code change. We want them to be as independent as possible. So, and you can kind of see how he envisions interacting with it. And he doesn't show us how he does it. He just shows us his tests. And I mean, that should be enough, right? So there are places we could go to see a solution, but what fun would that be? So let's see here. Let's get over to our IDE. And we've got nothing at this point, which is what we should have. Let's create a package. Oh, you're not seeing that window. That's frustrating. Okay. Well, now you see it. Now that's interesting because you don't see it. And I don't understand how you couldn't. It's almost as if that is just not, that's not staying up to date. I think the source that I used here said it was deprecated, but the last time I used OBS it worked okay. Guess maybe that's not true anymore. Let's see what happens if we create a test. Yes, it's still not updating. Oh, interesting. Let me think what I can do about this here for a second. See if I can salvage this for you. Let's see sure. Okay, now I'm seeing. I think that is what I'm after, actually. Yeah, okay, it's gonna be a preview. I do want to show cursor. Okay. And so I think we'll swap this out for that. And this can go away. And that's how you edit your stream while you're streaming. Not probably the preferred way to do it, but yeah, you can see what I'm doing now, so that's good. All right. Let's see here. I want to just a second here. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. I want to get a little bit of information here that I'm missing. Because I don't have. So I'm looking here. I'm looking at the testing libraries I have available to me, and I'm missing. I got JUnit, but what I don't have is like a cert J. And I'd like to have that, so we're gonna add that. Let's see, this is or cert J. Okay, yeah, that'll work. And then we gotta refresh our Gradle. I'm just gonna set this up. I need to figure out how to do this for all projects, because I just always want that to happen. I guess it could be a little overly sensitive for some people, but usually for me, the way that I work with it, it's fine. Oh, let's see here. And now we got a cert J. That's good. Okay. And okay. All right. We need a test. Now, if we're doing test driven, and we're going with Dave's first test here that says assert equals 0 is price of nothing. What's a way to say that? I don't. I want to try to put some focus on thinking about testing here, right? So first of all, we're doing test-driven development. And we're going to follow the 3 laws, right? The first law says, hey, you don't write any production code unless you got a failing test. The second one says that the second law, rule, whatever, says that you should write just enough tests to fail, and not compiling is failing. So pretty simple to get to a failure. I'm going to go with this as a test name. It looks like there's a ruler that says if I don't have a SKU. Oh yeah. So let's, instead of saying empty barcode, let's say blank SKUs have no price. I like that. Okay. We could say empty SKU. I'm going to say blank. Um, if we were pairing together, you could twist my arm, I'd go the other way. But you're not here, so you, you can't really help me. And you're not in chat. I don't see you in chat. Boop, boop, boo. Yeah, I don't see anybody there. That makes sense. It's not like I've been doing this for a second, so okay. Okay, blank SKUs have no price. And let's see, so we had I'm going to do it like this. My chair is just not sitting comfortable for me tonight. Maybe it's a little too high or something. Yeah, this stool, it's usually pretty comfortable. Maybe I've been sitting here too long today too. And I'm tired, my back hurts. But I want to get a little bit of streaming in tonight and validate some of the settings. I'm seeing some things that still need to be tweaked a little bit. But that's okay. And let's see. I'm going to do a thing too called, I'm going to try to follow this thing called TDD like you mean it, which means that we develop it right in the test. We push it out as we need to. And I'm going to do, try to follow some other things I'll talk about as I go along. So let's see. I'm going to create this as an inner class because I'm going to do it all in the test. And I'll push it out when I have to. Yes, I can't use it yet, but there's nothing to not use, so it's okay. We will be okay. Blank SKUs have no price. So assertions, assert that. CO dot total is equal to 0. We're going to do everything in pennies just to avoid any interesting rounding problems. So it's going to be ints. Just going to maybe feel a little bit weird, but that's fine. That way we don't have to worry about rounding errors and whatnot. Okay, so let's see. The thing I don't have here is that. Okay. And let's call that SKU. Don't really want to start this here. Let's start it here. And I'm doing that because I want to solve, like, you saw I had a compilation problem. You could see that it was lit up red, right? It wasn't there. And then let me back up here a second. Let me talk you through that. I just jump. Let's just back up here for a second. I am programming by wishful thinking. In addition to doing TDD, I'm writing the code I wish I had. It doesn't exist yet. And so the only thing I can get is a compilation problem, and that's why it's red. It's saying, dude, what are you trying to do? This class isn't there, right? And so, I mean, this is easy to solve. I hit Option Enter because I'm in IntelliJ, and I'm using the IntelliJ bindings, not the Mac OS ones. And so literally I hit Option Enter. Now I'm hitting arrow keys. My hands are just like right here on the keyboard. And I'm just going to arrow down. I'm going to hit Enter. And now I'm going to come to this guy. And I'm still using arrow keys. I'm just using arrow keys. And Option Enter. And I'm going to do that. And oh, bleh, Um, and literally, I'm just satisfying compilation errors, right? Which is important to think about, because when I get here, I've actually got two different problems here that are kind of co-located in the same place, and that is uh, one, that total doesn't exist, and two, that, well, once it does exist, it should return the wrong value. Um, because I want to solve each one of those problems independently. I want to solve the compilation problem. I'm doing a thing called taking baby steps. Baby steps are good. You want to learn to take the smallest step you can, because it's not that you always will take those super tiny steps, but you want to know what they are, because they may help you uh, unpaint yourself from a corner at some point. If you're Unless you're better than me, you'll paint yourself in a corner and you'll be glad that you know how to take small steps, because you'll back up and you'll do it again, with smaller steps, and you'll be successful the second time. Okay, so I'm going to create this, and again, this is int. Now, this wants to return 0. It thinks, hey, let's return 0. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to return -1, because it's outside of a value that I expect, right? And now I've got code that compiles, so I'm going to run the test. Control Shift F10, and I'm going to look at this, and I want to look at this failure, and I can see that the test wanted 0, but it got 1. And so this is really important. I want to look at it, and I need to understand, did that fail for the reason that I wanted it to fail, and did it fail in the way that I expected it to fail? And this is true. Um, it failed because the values were different, and the values were what I expect. So, yeah. So I understand what's going on here. It's really, really important when you're coming into test-driven development. Take time to stop and think about every little thing, because there's nuance to it. And as you do that, you think about, oh, why did I do that? Why did I do that? It'll start coming. You'll really start thinking about it, right? It'll start kind of sinking in. Okay, yeah, well, I did that because this did this. It'll become second nature, right? It'll become autonomic, just like breathing at some point. If you're like me, it'll be like when you were in math class and you forgot how to show your work, because you're like, I haven't shown work on that in a while. I just kind of do it like this. So it's good practice. You want to always remember the baby steps. Okay, so the easiest thing I can do to make this pass is this. And this feels like cheating, and it's absolutely the right thing to do, because this code, the only demands placed upon this code that we're building are the demands that are placed on it by the tests. And we have one test, and it adequately satisfies that one test. The tests are our whole world. If the tests don't expect us to do it, we don't care. And so the way that we make this more interesting and help this code be something that can solve more problems is we write more tests. So, in fact, let's see. Now, as we go along, when we hit green, there's a step that a lot of people forget, right? So we were red, now we're green. You can see we're green because we're passing these tests, right? And the next thing we want to do is we want to refactor. And some people look at this and they say, oh, do I need to change something? And I want you to just don't even think about that. Don't think like that. I want you to look at it and say, how do I make this better, right? How do I make this better? Because it'll make all the difference in the world. Just your attitude, the way that you approach looking at it will make all the difference in the world, right? So, how can I make this better? And think about the different, whatever you know about design or code smells or 4 rules of simple design. bring that stuff with you in the refactor phase. When you're red and you're going to green, throw it all out the window. The only thing that matters is that you get that test passing by hook or crook, because you want the accountability of the test to tell you that you have not broken anything when you make changes. Well, I'm sure that won't be the only time you'll hear me say that. Okay, so there's one. There really isn't anything I can do here. I don't see anything. I think another interesting test, although I don't know how interesting it is at this point, would be to say that a new sale would have a starting balance or starting total of nothing, right? Of 0. Scan and the total. Yeah, I'm not sure I love total either, but let's move on. So Dave's second test. A is apparently 50 cents. So, well, if A is 50 cents, you should never do that, by the way. That's probably not the best thing to do. But it's the next test is going to look pretty close to that, and so, yeah. Charges 50 cents for A. So we have an A, and that should be 50 cents. Okay, let's run that test, and now it's failing, right? And it's failing in the way and for the reason that we expected it to. Okay, now what can we do? Well, I need to refactor, actually. I realize now that I need to refactor, because I can't just do something simple and make this pass. I need to when I'm doing TDD, I want to try to stay one Control Z, one undo away from a passing test. And as I'm looking at this, like, there's a couple of things I want to do. I don't think I can do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to this test. I'm going to disable it, and so that I'm back to passing. And now what I'm going to do, now I can refactor because I'm green, right? We talked about that. And this, there's nothing I can tell. Nothing in this total method helps me understand that I should do anything other than return 0. But what I can do is I can drive it back closer to the source, back closer to the input, and that value back closer to the input, and which is probably what I want to do anyway, because really this isn't where I should this probably isn't where I should establish that value. So and the only way I can do that is, and the only way I can get that same value in both places and drive it back toward the input, is to turn this into a field. So I'm going to make this a field, and okay, yeah, here I go again, refactoring, right? So Command Option Shift T will pull me up to refactor this. And so what I was doing is Option Command F to introduce a field. Okay, and I want to put it in the checkout. And it's not an int. It is we'll call it total. And oh, I didn't want to do that there. fact, gosh, let me back that up. Are we green? Mind your fingers, young man, because they will get away from you. Okay, let's make it a field. And I don't want to initialize it here. I actually want to, seems like I probably want to initialize that in the constructor. So I'm going to do that. And then so now the change I need to make here is much easier, right? So it's still not working. What I can do now is I can come into scan and I can say I'm going to use this guy. No, I'm not going to use that guy. I'm actually going to use this guy. I'm going to put a guard in here. And then I'll just say total equals 50. Oh, it made it final. Or if I can just quick fix it there. There you go. There's so much you can do. Just get used to that Alt Enter. That Alt Enter is so helpful. Option Enter, Alt Enter. If you're on a Mac, it's Option. If you're on a PC, it's Alt. Such a handy key combination. Shift F10, run the tests, and we're good. Okay, so yeah, so we pushed that value back closer to the input, and I'm looking at this guy, and I actually got some duplication here, right? Between the test and the code that I'm developing, I've got this, right? And this is actually the same value. It's not that it is 50, that it's two different values in two different places. It is the same value. So yeah, I want to keep an eye on that. You know, I think actually I'm green. I'm going to do a thing here. I'm going to do this. I think that'll still make it pass. And I just want it attached, right? I want it attached there really close. And so let's go look at. Oh crap! I forgot to turn to the IDE. My apologies, folks. Nobody's watching, so it's yeah. Still, let me come back over here. How can I zoom in on this guy? I bet there's a plugin for that. That's something that I'll have to. Give me just a second. I want to give myself a. Yeah, that's not what I want. I want to give myself a note here in logseek. Shout out to Tim Ottinger for turning me onto it. 10 o'clock, it's 2200. OBS. Let's see here. I guess actually I'm okay with you guys seeing that. It won't let me do it though, because that's full screen. Yeah, let's see. Alright, let's see. So, boom, boom, boom. What am I doing? This is so there's that. Okay. Very good. Okay, so going back over to Dave's Kata. Let's see. So we're up to this guy. Potentially. You know, I don't really like. So I'm looking at this A, and I don't really like that A sitting there like that. I have a bit of a problem with it. You know, this guy right here. Not loving that. Because it's so bare. But, you know, at this point, it's okay. It's just one. Like, who cares? I think actually, instead of going for the test that Dave did of 2 items, I want to make this worse. Anytime I've got something I don't like this, I know this sounds counterintuitive, but I want to make it worse. And so let's see, B's are 30 cents. I don't think that'll pass. And yeah, it won't. So it says it's 0. So okay, well, it thinks it's 0 because of course it does. I mean, it's not A, and so it doesn't set a value, right? Now that's interesting, and that could be. We're not doing exceptions right now, but that actually just sitting here thinking about it, we want to do an exception at some point. So I'm going to do that. I think that'll make it work. And what we're starting to get going here is we're beginning to see the shape of a switch statement, a case statement, and it's ifs, but it's the same structure, right? And And this one's really significant because we're just using it to assign a single value, right? And so if you think about it, this is really just a lookup table. I don't know if you can see that, but this is just a lookup table. And um, this is it's duplicated. It's subtle duplication, right? This is the only difference between that and that are the A and the 50 and the B and the 30, right? So it's parameterized in that way. It could be parameterized in that way, and this could be the same thing. Doesn't make sense really to make it a function, but what we can do is it is a lookup table. Let's make it a lookup table. And so I'm going to go for a map, and the SKUs are string, and then you got the price, and I'm going to call this like that. Oh, it's past my bedtime. I'm going to do a trick here. I'm going to throw an instance initializer on this guy for now. And I'm going to put A is 50. And here I could say something like that. This will start helping me vet what's going on here, right? I want to take small steps. It's gonna get uglier before it gets better. That's the way it is. It's fine, because the last thing we want to do is make a big code change and then realize that we've broken it and we can't get back to working for another half a day. We want to take small steps, because I mean it worked. All I need to do is take another small step and another small step, and they add up. So I'm going to come back up here, and so I'm sure somebody's looking at this and they're like, "Oh, he's doing another academic thing." But this is the same concepts, right? We get to practice these concepts, sure, on an academic thing. But the thing that we're doing here is we're looking at the technique, and we're doing a thing called deliberate practice. We're operating in practice mode instead of performance mode, and we're just really thinking this thing out, right? As we go along, we're being extremely deliberate about it to really just call our shots. Okay, so let's see. I think I can do the same thing here. Hey, that still works. Now, what I could do is this could actually be SKU. What's going on here? Yeah, so that could actually be SKU if you think about it. Oh, not that one. Yeah, and this could be SKU. Why am I hitting the wrong things? There we go. Hey, and it still works. And so look at this now. We've got these ifs, and the code that they're guarding is the same. And when you see that, what it means is you just got rid of the ifs, because there's nothing to guard. It just always does it. All right. Well, we don't need both of them, Eddie. Duh. Tired. Sorry, guys. Folks, ladies and gentlemen and people, human persons who are watching trying to be facetious. I'm just tired. Hey, somebody else is around. They're not saying anything, but somebody's out there. Hello, people out there. Okay, alright. Let's see, how long have I been doing this? Let's see if Twitch, if this tells me. I've been doing it for about 40 minutes. I was going to do it for about 30. So you can kind of see, like, we've started this, and again, we're doing kind of this TDD as if you mean it. And we're doing it, building it right in the test, and we'll kick it out later. At some point, some of these tests may be a little less interesting, and we may in fact delete some of them. But we really are starting to get this duplication now of between the test code and the production code. You can say, what, we got this 50 and this 30 and this A and this B. I mean, we're really getting some duplication here. I don't know if you see it. And so we want to think about what we're going to do about that. And I think that that will be a great thing for us to do next time. So, yeah. Hey, I hope this has been helpful for you. I know it's pretty simple. We'll do some more interesting stuff later, but I just want to start with something simple. If you have any questions, let me know. Feel free to send me questions. I think long term what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to record here and then take the thing and upload it to YouTube. And maybe put a page up for the video on my site. I need to come up with some way for you all to give me comments when I'm not here to hear them, right? To give me feedback. You got my Twitter on the thing. Guess you could do that. Have to put some thought in that. Anyway, yeah. So for today, I think that's enough. We got to let's get rid of the dead code. That's just for me, Command Option O. You really should take time to learn those keyboard shortcuts because they will speed you up. You don't have to think about stuff. That thing, then you can keep focus on whatever you're doing and just let your fingers do the walk. Yeah, so I'll try to come back and do a little bit of this maybe every day, do a half hour or something, ish. And yeah, maybe next time we can see what we're doing with this. I probably shouldn't make promises because I have no idea. I may come in and want to do something else to it, but that's fine. Hey, so again, my name's Eddie Bush. Thanks for coming by the channel. If it's your first time, feel more than welcome to follow, to subscribe, and always please give your comments. Really appreciate that. So, all right. Have a great rest of your evening. We'll see you next time.